It's rare for an NFL quarterback to join a new team and promptly lead that squad to the NFC Championship game, as Tom Brady has done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His team will visit Lambeau Field and the Green Bay Packers with a Super Bowl berth on the line Sunday. Since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, 12 quarterbacks have led a team to the league championship game 1 year after playing professionally elsewhere, and of those, 5 have pushed their team as far as the Super Bowl, though one defeated another quarterback in the same boat to get that far. 2 won the Super Bowl, and a third won a ring, though he didn't play in the final showcase. Many of these quarterbacks were signed as backups initially. After 6 largely unremarkable years in Miami, Tannehill found a groove in his first year with the Tennessee Titans. He completed a career best 70% of his passes and guided the Titans to a pair of playoff shockers, wins over New England and Baltimore. The road ended there in a 35-24 loss to Kansas City in the AFC Championship. The journeyman had already played for 3 other teams in his 5 NFL seasons, but the Vikings won 11 of his 14 starts in 2017 when he threw for 22 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. Keenan had originally been signed as a backup to Sam Bradford. The Vikings still didn't know when Teddy Bridgewater would be back after he suffered a gruesome leg injury in 2016. But Keenum seized the reins after Bradford was hurt in Week 2, though Keenum was outplayed by another newcomer in the 2017 championship game. Most people know this fairy tale story. Foles, who started his career in Philadelphia, had played for Kansas City the year before and signed as a backup with the Eagles but became the starter by Week 14 after an ACL injury to Carson Wentz. Foles threw for 352 yards and 3 touchdowns in the NFC title game to beat Minnesota, then 373 yards and 3 scores, plus a famous receiving touchdown, in the 41-33 win over New England in the Super Bowl. In his first year with the Vikings, the long-tenured Packers star, who spent the previous year with the New York Jets, enjoyed a superb season at age 40 and guided Minnesota to the NFC Championship game. But an ill-timed interception by New Orleans defensive back Tracy Porter kept Minnesota from attempting a game-winning field goal, and New Orleans went on to win on a Garrett Hartley field goal in overtime. Brees suffered a late-season injury with the San Diego Chargers in 2005, plus the franchise had Phillip Rivers waiting in the wings. So, when San Diego declined to offer more than a 5-year, $50 million contract extension, Brees signed with the Saints for 6 years and $60 million. It was a huge decision for both franchises. Obviously, Rivers had a strong career with the Chargers, but the Saints won the 2009 Super Bowl and have enjoyed the bulk of Brees' Hall of Fame career. The dividends started paying out in 2006 when he led New Orleans to the NFC title game, though the Bears were waiting and levied a 39-14 defeat. After 2 years as a backup with the Saints, Delhomme signed with the Panthers as a potential starting option. He took over at halftime from Rodney Peete in the season opener, led the squad to a comeback win and never looked back. By the end of the year, he was playing in the Super Bowl, having defeated Philadelphia in the NFC title game, 14-3, and narrowly falling to New England for the Lombardi Trophy, 32-29. Delhomme only had 19 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, plus a completion percentage below 60%, but only 2 opponents scored more than 25 points against Carolina all year, including New England in the Super Bowl, with 12 out of 20 games at 20 points or less. It's somewhat easy to forget that Dilfer's Super Bowl winning season was his only year with the Ravens. Had come from Tampa Bay in 1999, where an injury had cut his season short, and he signed to back up Tony Banks. But the Ravens, looking for an offensive shakeup mid-season, won 7 straight games to close the regular season with Dilfer at the helm, secured a wild card spot, and kept winning in the playoffs, backed by one of the greatest defenses of all time, one that surrendered just 23 points over 4 postseason games. In 20 games, the Ravens allowed single-digit points, an otherworldly 12 times, and just 10 points on 3 other occasions, including a 16-3 win over the Raiders in the AFC title game and 34-7 win over the Giants in the Super Bowl. Dilfer wasn't viewed as the key ingredient, and he was signed by Seattle in the offseason, but he made the offensive engine churn just enough. The veteran slinger was 35 when he joined the Jets from Baltimore, where had been released after the Ravens traded for Jim Harbaugh. Playing for his hometown team, he threw for 29 touchdowns with just 7 interceptions, posting the best quarterback rating of his career as a starter, 101.6. The Jets fell to John Elway's Broncos in the AFC title game, 23-10. It's perhaps the most analogous situation to Brady. Montañas legend had been solidified in San Francisco when an elbow injury cost him most of the 1991 and 92 seasons. In his absence, Steve Young rose up as an elite successor. A quarterback controversy ensued. Montana requested a trade, and he was indeed dealt to Kansas City, where he joined newly signed running back Marcus Allen and led the Chiefs to the AFC title game. An epic Young/Montana clash never materialized, however. Young's 49ers fell to Dallas in the NFC title game, and Kansas City was ousted by Buffalo, 30-13. Kramer somewhat counts, joining the Lions after 3 years in the Canadian Football League. In an offense built around Barry Sanders, Kramer guided Detroit to an NFC title game, where the Lions lost to Washington, 41-10. Detroit hasn't won another playoff game since he threw for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win over Dallas in the divisional round. Morton had started 12 games for the Giants in a forgettable 1976 campaign, but the 34-year-old still had some gas in the tank when he was traded to the Broncos in exchange for quarterback Steve Ramsey and a draft choice. He became the first quarterback to start a Super Bowl for 2 teams, and remains the only one to have done it in both conferences, meaning Brady could be the second. He earned Comeback Player of the Year that season but could not beat his former team in the Super Bowl. In fact, after throwing 4 interceptions against Dallas, he was pulled in favor of Norris Weiss. But he led the Broncos past Oakland in a narrow AFC title game win, 20-17. In that game, Wisconsin native Dave Casper caught 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns for the Raiders. Morrall was claimed off waivers from Baltimore, reuniting him with his former coach, Don Shula. When he stepped in to replace badly injured Bob Grease, Morrall helped the Dolphins continue the only undefeated season in NFL history, with 9 starts. But he struggled in the AFC Championship game, and Grease reclaimed the job that would remain his for the next several seasons. Morrall, who didn't play in the Super Bowl that season, was named first team All-Pro at age 38, and that was just one facet of his wild career arc. The 3-time Super Bowl champ also landed an MVP award in 1968 after he filled in for an injured Johnny Unitas to lead the Colts to an NFL title and appearance in Super Bowl III. He also won a Super Bowl title 2 years later when he came off the bench in relief of an injured Unitas again to lead the Colts past the Cowboys in Super Bowl V.